So you've heard of millennials, right?
I have.
Ever heard of Generation Z?
Nope.
Well, just like previous generations, Generation Z is a group of young people full of its own ideas.
Nikita Vladimirov, who's an investigative reporter for campusreform.org, is here to explain. So what age group are we talking here?
So Generation Z is a generation that is past millennials. So it is the students, the young adults that are born in 1996 and to mid-2000s.
Oh, okay. All right. So what are these ideas that they've been coming up with? What is so unique about this generation of people?
So a political science professor, Jeff Brower, argues that Generation Z is actually likely to be much more Republican. And this is primarily due to the fact that they were brought up during a time of economic recession, and they saw a lot of their parents suffer and get laid off. And so they're likely to vote Republican based on these issues. Now, this is really good news for Republicans, of course, because Generation Z tends to favor subjects such as economic freedom, policy, national defense, and those are going to be the issues that will be in the political forefront for the next 5, 10, or 15 years.
So who are the politicians that speak to Generation Z?
The politicians speak primarily Donald Trump right now, but of course they're very young. Generation Z right now, the oldest members of Generation Z are about 20 years old, so they're just entering the college sphere. In a couple of years, they will overtake the college campuses, however, and it'll be interesting to see what happens then.
So while you're saying that Generation Z seems to be more conservative, I mean, are there key issues that really stick out to them or that are important to them?
Absolutely. So according to this latest research, economic freedom is going to be one of them. National security is going to be the other. And they consume media in general much differently than millennials do. So they use alternative sources of media. They don't rely necessarily on mainstream media. And I mean, look, this is the sort of thing we see all the time, this type of trend with Leadership Institute's campus reform. We see a lot of young college students actually complaining, saying, you know, look, we're really tired of this political correctness atmosphere in college campuses. And the same college campuses were asking a question, for example, where you're from could be deemed offensive. And of course, I'm originally from the Russian Federation. And if anybody asks...
Nikita Vladimirov?
Get
out.
the infamous Russian Federation. You know, if anybody asked me about where I'm from, I would never get offended. So this is just the example of absurdity.
Where did you go to college?
Oh, I graduated already.
No, where did you go?
At Trinity University, San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
All right.
Absolutely.
So with this whole Generation Z, do we expect to see activists, them jumping into the political fray, or are they just observers?
Yeah, because there's still apathy is still so alive and well, it seems, on campus. You have either the students who are totally apathetic, or you have the ones that are, you know, they're the most active, or they're the most loudest of them all.
Absolutely. So the Generation Z is a bit rebellious. They want to rebel against this culture of political correctness, right? They don't want the man telling them what to do, and they don't want to be branded as snowflakes like millennials were branded before them.
And they're kind of like the Tea Party, but see, the way you described it also describes the way a lot of liberals would act too. So.
In some instances, but the difference is here, Generation Z lived under years of recession, and they're a bit more in favor of economic freedom. So they have certain libertarian streaks, and this is what this political science professor observes and says is likely to make them vote Republican in the future.
All right.
All right, we got that.
Yeah.
Nikita Vladimirov.
Pleasure.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming in tonight.
Appreciate it. Now I know what Generation Z is.
There you have it.
All right, we'll be right back, everybody.